The thrusters of my small exploration ship sputtered to life as I descended onto the surface of Zyis. The planet loomed below me, a swirl of vibrant colors and an atmosphere thick with humidity and uncertainty. I gripped the control panel, my heart racing with excitement and a touch of fear. Zyis was notorious for its hostile environment, and whispers of the alpha predator, a creature that instilled terror in even the bravest explorers, echoed in my mind. Yet, here I was, Jake Reynolds, a mere human, ready to confront the unknown. The landing was rough, jostling me in my seat as my ship settled on the uneven ground. I took a deep breath, the air thick and earthy, filled with scents both foreign and tantalizing. I stepped outside, feeling the weight of my survival gear against my back. "This is it, Jake," I muttered to myself, forcing a grin. "Time to show the galaxy what humanity is made of." The landscape stretched before me, towering plants with iridescent leaves, strange sounds reverberating through the air. I switched on my scanner, the device beeping softly as it began to map the terrain. "All right, let's see what secrets you hold, Zyis," I said, feeling the thrill of adventure course through me. As I ventured deeper into the thick underbrush, the sounds of the planet enveloped me. Birds, if you could call them that, flitted overhead, their feathers glinting like gemstones. But then, a roar echoed in the distance, deep and primal, sending a shiver down my spine. I froze, my heart pounding. It had to be the alpha predator. The very thought made my skin prickle with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. "What are you doing, Jake?" I whispered to myself. "You're not here to cower. You're here to explore." Pushing through the dense vegetation, I pressed on, the thrill of the hunt igniting a fire within me. I had read the reports, seen the footage of the creature that haunted this planet, a fearsome beast with claws that could shred steel. But I was driven by something deeper, an insatiable curiosity, a need to prove that humans were more than just frail beings. "I can do this," I reassured myself, my voice barely above a whisper. Days passed, marked by the sounds of distant roars and the rustle of leaves as the local fauna darted away from whatever predator lurked nearby. I set up a makeshift camp, meticulously tracking the sounds, noting the movements of other creatures. Each night, I lay awake, staring up at the alien stars, wondering if I would ever encounter the alpha predator. I had become obsessed, fascinated by the idea that a creature so feared might hold secrets to strength and survival. Then one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of violet and gold, I heard it, a growl that reverberated through the ground beneath me. My heart raced. This was it. I had followed the signs, the warnings, and now I was on the cusp of a moment that would redefine everything. "Time to face my fears," I muttered, my voice steady despite the storm of nerves in my gut. I crept through the underbrush, my senses heightened, every rustle and snap of a twig sending adrenaline coursing through my veins. Suddenly, I saw it, a massive figure silhouetted against the dying light. The alpha predator. My breath caught in my throat as I beheld the creature's sheer size, muscles rippling under its dark, scaled skin. It was beautiful and terrifying, a perfect embodiment of nature's raw power. Instead of retreating, I took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage within me. I slowly extended my hand, palm facing outward, a gesture of peace, of trust. To my astonishment, the creature paused, its fierce gaze locking onto mine. It lowered its massive head, the tension in the air shifting, and I felt something inexplicable, a connection, a spark of understanding that transcended fear. Tentatively, I brushed my fingers against its snout, the scales warm beneath my touch. "You're not what everyone says you are," I whispered, my voice trembling with the weight of the moment. The alpha predator remained still, a low rumble emanating from its throat, and in that heartbeat, I realized that beneath the layers of ferocity lay an unexpected gentleness. In that instant, everything changed. A friendship was born, one that would challenge the very foundations of what it meant to be human in a universe that had long deemed us weak. As I stood there, hand resting on the creature that had been feared for millennia, I knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. As I stood on the rocky terrain of Zyis, the sky above me swirling with iridescent colors, I couldn't shake off the feeling that my encounter with Titan had sent ripples through the fabric of the galaxy. News of our bond had reached the Intergalactic Council, and I could only imagine the heated debates that must have erupted in their sterile chambers. I had unearthed something extraordinary, yet I was acutely aware of the danger that came with it. I had taken to exploring the verdant expanses of Zyis with Titan by my side. Every day was a new adventure filled with moments that deepened our connection. "Look at that, Titan." I exclaimed one afternoon, pointing to a cluster of vibrant, luminescent flowers. He turned his massive head, the golden flecks in his deep, piercing eyes flickering with curiosity. It was as if he understood my excitement. "Did you know these flowers glow in the dark?" I continued, kneeling to examine one up close. Titan leaned in, his breath warm against my skin, and I felt an unspoken understanding pass between us. The bond we shared was more profound than mere companionship. It was a silent conversation that transcended words. "Let's see if we can find that waterfall I told you about," I suggested, standing up and brushing dirt off my pants. Titan let out a low rumble, a sound that I had come to interpret as agreement, and together we set off through the dense underbrush, the weight of our friendship heavy in the air. Meanwhile, back at the council, the atmosphere was fraught with tension. Counselor Zara, a pragmatic leader with sharp features and an even sharper mind, paced the room, her voice cutting through the murmurs of skepticism. This could be a dangerous shift in power dynamics. We cannot underestimate the implications of a human forming a bond with the alpha predator. "Why are we even discussing this?" interrupted Counselor Vrax, his ambition palpable. "This is an opportunity. We could harness this bond, turn it into a weapon against our rivals. Imagine the fear it would instill." Zara stopped pacing and turned to him, her brow furrowed. "And what of the consequences, Vrax? We could ignite a war we are not prepared for. The balance of power is delicate, and this bond could disrupt it entirely." As they debated, I was blissfully unaware, absorbed in my exploration with Titan. We had arrived at the waterfall, its cascading waters shimmering under the alien sun. I laughed as Titan splashed through the shallow pool, sending droplets flying. "You're like a big kid," I called out, and he turned, shaking his head as water droplets glittered around him like stars in the night sky. In moments like these, I felt a surge of hope. Maybe the fears surrounding our species weren't entirely justified. I could sense Titan's intelligence, his observations. He was more than just a fearsome creature. He had a heart, a soul, and an unyielding spirit. "We're going to show them, Titan," I said, my voice filled with determination. "We're going to prove that I'm not just a human, and you're not just a predator. We're allies." The bond between us was fortifying, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it was precarious. What would happen when the council decided to intervene? Would they view our friendship as a threat or an opportunity? I had to protect Titan at all costs, but how could I shield him from the machinations of a council that had long deemed humans inferior? That evening, as we rested beneath the stars, I shared my thoughts with Titan. "They're afraid of us, you know. They think we're too fragile to ever be anything more than a footnote in galactic history." Titan, sensing my distress, nudged me gently with his massive head, a comforting gesture that stirred warmth in my chest. "They'll see, Titan. We'll make them see what we are capable of." I leaned against his side, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breath. There was an unspoken promise in that moment, a silent vow that we would face whatever came our way together. Little did I know, the council's intrigue was about to take a darker turn. Vrax's ambition would not rest, and I was about to find myself at the center of a storm that threatened not just our bond, but the very essence of what it meant to be human in an unforgiving universe. As I lay beside Titan under the vast expanse of stars, the cool night air was tinged with a sense of peace, a tranquility I had come to cherish during our time together. Titan, my colossal friend, breathed softly, the rhythmic rise and fall of his massive body a reminder of the bond we had forged in this hostile world. Suddenly, that peace shattered. My heart raced as I heard the unmistakable hum of engines approaching. I sat up, instinctively scanning the horizon, and my stomach dropped when I saw the telltale lights of ships cutting through the darkness. "Titan," I whispered, my voice trembling. "We need to go. Now." Titan's ears perked up, his body tensing. I knew he could sense the danger before I could even articulate it. "They're here for you, aren't they?" I said, my voice barely a murmur. It was a question I already knew the answer to. Titan let out a low growl, deep and resonant, vibrating through the ground beneath me. "Stay close," I urged, my heart pounding. We had faced danger before, but this felt different. The urgency of the moment pressed against me like a heavy weight. "We need to find somewhere safe." As we moved deeper into the underbrush, Titan's massive form moved with an elegance that belied his size. He was more than just strength. He was grace and wisdom, and I felt a mix of admiration and fear. Fear for what was coming, and for the creature I had come to love like a brother. I won't let them take you, I vowed, glancing back at him. I promise. But as I looked into Titan's intelligent eyes, I sensed a deep understanding. He knew. We both knew that the Intergalactic Council's ambitions ran deeper than my simple promises. They saw him as a weapon, a tool to manipulate, a creature to control. And I was just a human, a weak, insignificant human in their eyes. But I had something they didn't, a bond with Titan that transcended their cold calculations. Suddenly, Titan halted, his nostrils flaring as he caught a whiff of something in the air. I froze, instinctively moving closer to him. What is it? I whispered, my voice trembling. Titan turned his head toward the sound of approaching footsteps, his eyes narrowing into piercing slits. They're close, I breathed, panic rising in my chest. We need to. Before I could finish my thought, Titan let out a roar that echoed into the night, a primal sound that sent shivers down my spine. Stop. I pleaded, my heart racing. They'll hear you. But it was too late. The hunters had already picked up his call, and I could hear the buzz of their ships getting nearer. My mind raced with thoughts of what would happen if they found us. I couldn't let them take Titan. I wouldn't. Come on. I urged, grabbing his massive paw and pulling him toward the denser foliage. We have to hide. Titan followed, his massive weight crashing through the underbrush, but I felt the urgency of the moment weighing heavily upon us. I could almost hear the hunters' voices now, the crackle of their communication devices piercing through the night. Jake, stay behind me, Titan growled, his voice low and protective. No, I said, my determination hardening. I'm not leaving your side. We face this together. With each step, I felt the ground tremble beneath us, a reminder of Titan's immense power and the danger we were both in. I glanced back, my heart aching at the thought of losing him. We'll find a way out, I promised, although uncertainty gnawed at me. We always do. Titan hesitated, his large head swiveling toward me. You have to trust me, Jake. They're coming for me, not you. You are the only one who can save both of us. I shook my head vehemently. No. I won't abandon you. You're my friend, Titan. I won't let them take you. In that moment, I realized how deep our bond truly ran. It was forged not just in danger, but in understanding, in resilience, and in an unbreakable trust that connected us across the vastness of the galaxy. We were two souls, standing against the storm that threatened to tear us apart. But as the ships drew closer, the reality of our situation loomed larger. Titan's agitation grew, and I could feel his muscles tensing beneath my fingertips. I had to act quickly. Let's find a place to regroup, I whispered urgently, glancing around for any sign of a safe haven. We'll think of something. The night was closing in, and danger was on the horizon. But as long as I had Titan by my side, I felt a flicker of hope. Together, we would face whatever darkness lay ahead. We had to. The night air was thick with tension as Titan and I lay beneath the stars, their luminescent glow providing a stark contrast to the darkness creeping around us. I could feel Titan's unease ripple through the ground as he raised his massive head, nostrils flaring. Something was off. Hey big guy, what's wrong? I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence. Titan turned his fierce golden eyes towards me, and I could see a flicker of fear, something I had never associated with him before. It sent an unsettling chill down my spine. Suddenly, the roar of engines shattered the stillness, the sound echoing across the landscape like thunder. Titan's body tensed, muscles quivering under his sleek, dark fur. We need to move. I urged, scrambling to my feet. But before I could even process the situation, blinding lights flooded the area, illuminating the trees and sending the nocturnal creatures into a frenzy. A group of hunters emerged from the shadows, their advanced technology glinting ominously in the lights. I felt my heart drop as I recognized their intent. Jake, stay back. Titan growled, his voice a deep rumble that resonated within me. He stepped forward, a protective stance that showcased his strength and ferocity. Titan, no. I shouted, instinctively reaching out to him, but I was too late. The hunters had deployed a net, a web of energy that crackled with power as it ensnared Titan. He roared in defiance, thrashing against the bonds, but the technology was too advanced, too powerful. Get away from him. I screamed, adrenaline surging through my veins. I rushed towards the hunters, my heart pounding in my chest as I watched my friend struggle against the trap. He's not a weapon. He's my friend. One of the hunters turned to me, a smirk on his face. Your friend is a monster, human. He's dangerous. We're doing the galaxy a favor. No, you don't understand. I cried, desperation clawing at my throat. Titan is more than what you think. He's intelligent, he understands. Enough! Another hunter barked, raising a weapon that glimmered with lethal intent. Step away or you'll be next. I hesitated, my instinct screaming at me to flee, but I couldn't abandon Titan. Please. You have to listen to me. I pleaded, feeling a surge of emotions threaten to overwhelm me. We have a bond. He saved my life. You can't do this. Titan's roar echoed through the trees, filled with anguish as he fought against the net. I felt it in my bones, the pain, the fear, and the unyielding spirit that had forged our friendship. Hold on, buddy. I'm coming. I lunged forward, fueled by adrenaline and a fierce determination to protect him. But as I reached out, the hunters tightened their grip, dragging Titan towards their ship. I could see the fear in his eyes, the betrayal of being captured, and it tore at my heart. Let him go. I shouted, my voice hoarse with emotion. You don't know what you're doing. But they were unmoved, their focus solely on their mission. As Titan was pulled away, I felt a crushing weight settle on my chest. I couldn't let this happen. I have to do something, I thought, a plan forming in my mind, fueled by desperation. I spotted a distress beacon on my utility belt, a device that could alert the Intergalactic Council of our location. If I can just get their attention. Without hesitating, I activated the beacon, the device buzzing to life in my hand. They need to know what's happening. I thought frantically, pressing the button repeatedly. Maybe they'll listen to me. Maybe they'll understand. The hunters noticed my actions and turned their attention back to me, their expressions shifting from amusement to irritation. What are you doing? Stop that! One of them yelled, but I ignored him, racing towards Titan. Hang in there, Titan. I called, my voice rising above the chaos. I won't let them take you. I could feel the weight of their gazes on me, the disbelief and contempt, but I couldn't focus on them now. As Titan was dragged closer to the ship, a surge of fear coursed through me. No, this can't be happening. I thought, my heart racing. I need to save him. I sprinted forward, determined to reach my friend. Titan. I shouted, my voice breaking as I felt the distance between us grow. I could see the panic in his eyes, the raw vulnerability that mirrored my own. I'm coming. The hunters were closing ranks, but I couldn't let fear paralyze me. I had to act fast. I had to be brave, not just for myself, but for Titan, for the bond we had forged against all odds. As I sprinted towards the hunter's base, my heart pounded with a mixture of fear and determination. The distress beacon had been my last hope, a flicker of light in the overwhelming darkness that threatened to consume my friend Titan. I could only imagine the chaos unfolding within that compound, the brutal efficiency of those who sought to exploit him. The metallic scent of machinery and the distant hum of alien technology filled the air as I approached, and I felt an urgency to reach Titan before it was too late. When I burst through the entrance, the scene was nothing short of chaotic. The hunters, clad in their sleek armor, were preparing to move Titan, who was still restrained, struggling against the bonds that held him. In the corner of my eye, I caught sight of the council ship's landing. Counselor Zara at the forefront, her expression a mixture of shock and disbelief. The sight of her gave me a brief surge of hope. Jake, she shouted, her voice cutting through the noise. What have you done? You shouldn't be here. Titan is my friend. I retorted, stepping forward, my voice rising above the commotion. You can't let them take him. He's not a weapon, he's alive. He deserves freedom. The hunters glanced at each other, their expressions hardening. Step aside, human, one of them commanded, brandishing a weapon that hummed with energy. This creature is a threat, and it will be eliminated. Threat? You don't understand what you're dealing with. I yelled, desperation clawing at my chest. Titan isn't just some beast. He's intelligent, and he cares. Look at him. I gestured wildly towards the creature I had come to know and love. You can see it in his eyes. Counselor Zara stepped forward, her gaze piercing through the tension. We need to understand this bond, she said, her voice steady. If there's even a chance that humans can connect with alpha predators, we must reconsider our approach. But Counselor Vrax, who had been lurking in the shadows, stepped forward, his face twisted in disdain. "This is a perfect opportunity to rid ourselves of a dangerous creature," he spat, eyes gleaming with ambition. "We can't afford to show weakness. Eliminate the beast and solidify our power." The hunters shifted uneasily, caught between their orders and the rising tension. I could feel the weight of their decision pressing down on me. "No, you're wrong," I shouted, my voice hoarse with emotion. "You have no idea what Titan represents. He's not just an animal, he's a bridge between our worlds." Just then, there was a loud crash as Titan, fueled by instinct and the sheer force of our connection, broke free from his restraints. The chains clattered to the ground as he stood tall, muscles rippling under his sleek, dark fur. The room fell silent, a collective gasp echoing around us. His fierce gaze locked onto mine, and in that moment, I felt an unbreakable bond, a promise that transcended words. "Jake." Titan's deep, rumbling voice resonated in my mind, an echo of our shared emotions. "I'm here, Titan," I exclaimed, almost in disbelief. "You're free." He positioned himself protectively in front of me, a living shield against the encroaching hunters. The tension in the air was palpable, and I could see the hunters hesitating, sensing the raw power emanating from Titan. "Stand down," I shouted towards the hunters, my heart racing. "He won't hurt you if you don't hurt him. Look at what we've created together." Counselor Zara's expression shifted, a flicker of realization dawning in her eyes. Perhaps there's a way to coexist," she began, but before she could finish, Vrax cut her off. "No, this is a mistake," he shouted, his voice laced with fury. "We cannot afford to let this bond continue. It threatens everything we've built." Titan growled low in his throat, the sound reverberating through the space, sending a clear message to all present. "I protect what is mine," he declared, his presence commanding respect and fear in equal measure. In that charged moment, I realized how deep our connection ran. Titan was not just a creature of brute strength. He was a guardian, a symbol of the fragile yet powerful bond we had forged. I stepped forward, feeling the warmth radiating from him, and raised my hands in a gesture of peace. "We can end this together," I urged, my voice steady. "If you let us, we can show you what true strength looks like." The air hung thick with tension as eyes darted between Titan and me, the weight of our friendship hanging in the balance. I could only hope that the Council would see what I had seen, how two beings so different could stand united against the tide of fear and misunderstanding. As the chaos erupted around us, I felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through my veins, but it was quickly overshadowed by a profound sense of dread. Titan, my friend, was hurt. I rushed to his side as he collapsed onto the ground, his massive body trembling. The hunters had come at us with a ferocity I hadn't anticipated, and now, as I cradled his head in my arms, I could feel the warmth of his blood seeping into my clothes. "Titan, stay with me," I whispered, my voice breaking. "Please don't leave me." Tears streamed down my cheeks, blurring my vision as I looked into his fierce yet gentle eyes. He was more than just an alpha predator. He was my companion, my protector, and now he lay wounded, the life ebbing from him. "Jake, I can feel you," he communicated through a wave of emotion that washed over me. It was like a distant echo of our shared moments, the adventures we took, the nights spent under the starlit sky. I could sense his pain, but beneath it, there was a calmness, an acceptance. "Don't talk. Just hold on," I urged him, my heart racing. The sounds of battle faded into the background, the shouts of the hunters and the crackle of weapons becoming a distant memory. All that mattered was Titan. In that moment, as I cradled him, he surged an emotion that was both powerful and sorrowful. He had been the guardian of balance on Zyis, a protector of the fragile coexistence between species. His connection with me hadn't just been a fluke, it was a destined alliance, one that could change the fate of the galaxy. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. You were meant to lead us," I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. "We could have done something incredible together." As his body trembled, Titan shifted slightly, nuzzling his snout against my hand. I could feel him gathering his strength, even in his weakened state. The bond we shared was unlike anything I had ever known. He trusted me, trusted that I would carry forward whatever legacy we were meant to create. I felt the weight of that responsibility settle heavily on my shoulders. With a final surge of energy, Titan let out a low growl, one that resonated deep within me. It was a sound of both pain and reassurance, a final message of hope. "You must protect what we have built," he seemed to say, his gaze piercing through the haze of despair that surrounded us. "I will, Titan. I promise," I vowed, though my voice quivered with emotion. "I'll make sure the others understand. I'll fight for us, for you." But as I held him close, I could feel the light in his eyes beginning to fade. The warmth that radiated from his massive form was cooling, and a deep sense of loss began to wash over me. "No, no, no," I pleaded, shaking my head as if I could somehow reverse time, could bring back the vitality that had always defined him. His breath came in shaky gasps, each one more labored than the last. Just as I thought he might speak one last time, his eyes filled with an incredible depth of emotion. In that moment, I understood everything. The connection we had, the journey we'd shared, it was all leading to this. His trust in me, in humanity, was a burden I would carry for the rest of my life. With a final breath, Titan's body relaxed, and I felt the weight of his head grow heavy against my knee. "Titan," I cried, my voice cracking as I shook him gently, desperate to wake him from this nightmare. But it was too late. The life that had once burned so brightly within him was gone. I was left alone with the echoes of our shared laughter, the whispers of our dreams, and the cold realization that the potential for peace had slipped through our fingers. I looked around at the chaos, the hunters still clashing with the council, oblivious to the tragedy that had just unfolded. In that moment, I felt a burning determination ignite within me. Titan's sacrifice would not be in vain. I would honor his memory and fight for the truth of what we had become. I would advocate for humanity, for the fragile yet powerful connection we could forge with the universe. As I rose to my feet, my heart heavy with grief, I knew I was forever changed. Titan's legacy would live on through me, and I would not let fear and misunderstanding dictate our future. I would ensure the galaxy knew the strength that lay within even the most fragile of bonds.